Now, today, the big birthday in the world of sports. I don't want you to feel too old, but Michael Jordan turned 62 today. MJ is 62. And there's two layers to this question. Layer one, is he the most popular, forget athlete, is he the most popular guy in the last 50 years on planet Earth? And then part two of the question, is it possible that in all sports, baseball, basketball, football, tennis, hockey, you name it, will there ever be a brand bigger than the one created by Michael Jordan?
Okay. You said in the last 50 years. That's 1974. So the answer is going to have to be 75. The answer is going to have to be no to that. Because
I'm not even talking about just sports. I'm talking
you're talking worldwide, right? Yeah. So you have to pick an international sport that would probably be like a Ronaldo or even fighting, a Mike Tyson or a Muhammad Ali, because it was at least international. NBA was not international. The brand is now international, and we all love it. But think of the movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. What was it called? Air?
Yeah.
I mean, that was in the 80s. So by the time it became an international monster, it was long past 50 years ago. Or before 50 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I think if you were to say 1975 to 2025, I'm not even talking sports. I'm saying on planet Earth, is there a more popular guy?
You said in the past 50 years.
Past 50 years. Muhammad Ali was past his prime. No?
In 75?
Yeah, late 70s. He was
fighting in the 80s.
So you think Muhammad Ali is the answer then?
I'm saying Jordan has surpassed all of that, but there has been other people internationally that were superstars or maybe just as big. Now, with the sneaker brand, which I didn't have my first Jordans until like 85, right? I was in like 5th, 6th grade or something like that. Then it became an international thing. So there's been other people, is my point. But, fast forward now, yeah, your answer's dead on, spot on. And it seems like no one will ever be as big because the Jordan brand is so huge. But there has to be someone or something that comes along again, and he's that next Jordan. He's a lifetime, once-in-a-lifetime kind of guy, but, once our lifetime is over, there'll be someone else.
I don't know. And I say that because, dude, other athletes have had successful sneakers. LeBron, KD, Steph, Shaq had his sneaker brand and still does. All these guys have successfully done it, but they all pale in comparison to the billion-dollar industry it is, the Jordan branch of Nike and everything.
Yeah.
So
$7 billion, by the way.
You got to ask yourself, is there a baseball player? If Ohtani, or who's the face of baseball?
Ohtani,
Juan
for
Soto?
Sure. No.
But I'm saying
you would think it would have to be an international star. Like, our grandkids going to say, oh, I got my Ohtanis on.
Yep. The world's a bigger place, or a smaller place, I should say now. And it'll be a guy like Ohtani. I'm not saying it is Ohtani, but it'll be a guy like Ohtani.
But if it's not Ohtani, if Ohtani's
the new Babe Ruth, there's going to be a new Jordan.
Yeah, but Ohtani, if he came out with his own line of cleats and batting gloves and all baseball gear, I don't think every little boy and girl will be like, I need my Ohtanis.
They also have to be fire, too. It's a perfect storm. The Jordans, for kids, I know the famous clip of David Letterman talking about how ugly they were. Like, are you serious about these things? Kids loved them. They were fire. And they're legendary still. We still wear the same ones from 84, 85.
Yeah, all Letterman and that generation were used to were boring, basic Converse.
Right. Your white tennis sneaker, right? Your basic Converse shoe.
It's almost because Michael Jordan, and much like anything in all businesses, it's the person that takes the big chance that has the biggest payoff. Him going with Nike, which at the time was like a not failing, but a pretty mid-level running shoe company. By him doing that, maybe that's the perfect storm, because on his 62nd birthday.
It is, and it also built to the allure and mystique and legend of Air Jordan.
There were other basketball players that endorsed sneakers, Converse and stuff like that, but is it just simply Michael Jordan was the first guy to really brand his own shoe to that level, and no one will ever compare, whether it's Steph
because
or
LeBron's career could compare. People debate that till this day.
Think
every
of all the
day.
sneakers. Think of all the sneakers that have debuted in the NBA. All the stars of the league. Yeah, they have millions of kids buying their sneaker, but nothing compares to a Jordan. And like even in baseball, I've recently been buying a lot of equipment. My kids are getting more involved in their little league and stuff.
Well, dude, not to undermine Jordan's career, but the shoe was fire, so that helped, right? It definitely helped, and it changed the game, and he marketed the hell out of it. The dude had Gatorade jingles and everything else. So, I mean, LeBron's career rivals Jordan's. His sneaker doesn't.
Was Michael Jordan just the perfect guy at the perfect time and everything lined up? Like the fact that he was the most talented winner while at the same time also happened to be alive in a time where they took a chance on, hey, maybe a basketball player with his own sneakers is a good idea. Was it just the perfect storm that no one will ever compete?
Yeah, he also delivered. He was slamming from the foul line with the sneaker on, so that also helps.
Like, think about it. You think that Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, you think those are the only social media attempts? There's clearly other companies that were like, oh, no, we'll be the next social media. Everything's got to line up perfectly. And I think Michael Jordan, on his 62nd birthday, you could argue in the last 50 years might be the most popular human on earth, and no one will ever have a bigger sports brand. Think about it. Tennis, bowling, hockey, baseball, basketball. Is there ever going to be a guy who sells billions of dollars of their logo?
It just sounds impossible, right? We're a blip on the radar, the timeline of life. You don't think there is going to be some guy in 3025 where, again, he surpasses this?
I mean,
maybe in our lifetime for sure. No. Most popular in the last 50 years? Yeah, you know what? That's a great debate. I would say you're probably right because of the brand at this point.
I mean, Tom Brady's a huge brand with TB12 and everything he represents.
But
Shaq does a million endorsements.
Everybody knows the Jumpman logo. Everybody knows the shoe. Internationally, not everybody got to see him play, so the legacy still lives on. It's crazy.
To put in perspective, Camino, that would be like Joe Montana, right? Having a branded cleat or football equipment that till this day
people are still talking
like,
about.
oh, Mahomes is wearing the Montanas. Like, it, you know what I'm saying? It just seems ridiculous that these young stars,
the Marinos,
they're stars in their own regard, yet they're still wearing Jordan branded stuff. I just think he's that one guy. And yeah, maybe our grandparents would say what Babe Ruth did for baseball. And the fact that he was like a larger than life, almost cartoon character type of guy, the way they describe him.
I think most popular in the past 50 years, I'll give you that one, right? I was just throwing out other names in the past 50 years that would be internationally.
I'll say 100. Maybe Muhammad Ali is the only one that rivals him?
No, because, again, we're thinking America-based. It eventually became international with the shoe brand. NBA, no one cared about internationally at that time, right? Can anyone compete? I'd have to say, yeah, probably because of international celebrity now and superstars in the soccer game and even baseball. So I will say, yeah. And, I mean, obviously NBA. It's an international sport now. So the opportunity for this to happen is there on a much larger scale. I would say eventually. But, again, it was if you were trying to dissect, well, how did that happen? It was a perfect store of awesome. Yeah. He delivered. He won. He was great. And those shoes were dope. You needed, and they marketed it perfectly.
Like,
so
everything, you could argue the same about a lot of things. Like something as silly as like Kelly Clarkson, right? I saw a meme that said, we got American Idol right the first time. We didn't need 25 more seasons. Like, to think about how she was the first winner of a singing reality show. And, she's as big a star now as ever before. Sometimes it's the perfect storm of talent and timing and everything that I think it's hard to argue that anyone.
Can anyone compete if Ronaldo had some fire sneakers that translated internationally for everybody in casual use and wear?
But those guys all had their prime already, and it didn't happen. I know.
But that type of guy, look at his social media following. You don't think someone with international fame like that could compete in the future? I do.
But it would need
and there
to
would
be,
be an Otani type, and
it would need
he
to
just
be a
needs
sport,
a fire
though.
shoe.
COVID would need to be a sport, though, that translates in the United States. Not that we dictate everything, but you can't call something the biggest in the world pop culture-wise if it's not popular in the U.S. And soccer, football just doesn't translate on that grand a scale, where the NBA internationally is only getting bigger and bigger. So I think if Jordan's not the answer, I would love to hear who you think it is at 877-99 on Fox. On his 62nd birthday, is Michael Jordan one of one, essentially?
It's amazing. If you have little kids in your life, they still want Jordans. They still talk about, I bought my nephew a pair of Jordans for Christmas that he wanted. I mean, you obviously know how popular the brand is.
Cool Uncle Steve buying an 8-year-old Jordans,
right,
and he appreciates it. He's 8.
Right. They know that Jumpman logo. So the question is he the most popular in the past 50 years? Because he's 62, and we're still buying his shoes and talking about the guy. And can anyone ever compete with that sort of fame and fortune?
And what would it have to be? Like, describe the scenario. Would it have to be like such an elite guy? Like Mahomes almost three-peated. Was one bad game away from winning 4 of the last, 5?
And he doesn't have a fire shoe, though.
He doesn't have a shoe or a brand of anything where you like kids like, I need the Mahomes.
He's investing in ketchup.
Yeah.
And again, it was Nike pushing the mystique of this guy, Air Jordan. I mean, all these things added to it, Rich. It's like, who had that sort of mystique about them? Mike Tyson. Invincible.
Yeah.
He was invincible at one point. If he had a fire shoe, we might be rocking it.
You know what? We'll take your feedback next. Covino and Rich.
Covino and Rich. Hey! No. It's Jordan's birthday, man. And over the weekend, Rich, I was searching the GOAT app to find a pair of OG, I think they're 2021 Rob Parker specials. Rob Parker has them. The Georgetown Jordan 4s, those blue ones with the gray cement. I'm willing to pay over $300 for some Jordan 4s because
for a guy that hasn't played in decades is the point.
Yeah, and kids today who never ever even seen a highlight know the brand and know the sneaker. Jordan is 62, and Rich poses a question. Is he the most popular guy of our lifetime in the past 50 years? And can anyone ever compete with that sort of branding at this stage of the game? And my only question to that, Rich, is, I mean, it's hard to debate, but you don't think that people at one point thought there'd never be another Kareem or another Babe Ruth? And, of course, there was. There was a Michael Jordan. There was a lot of other international stars since.
It's tough.
International is the game changer here. There's going to be another guy internationally who's the greatest thing going.
Mike, who runs his place?
Who?
The guy, Mike. He said...
I thought it was Rick from Pawn Stars. It was Mike who runs his place.
Maybe not Jordan level, but what Tiger Woods did for golf. And that's a good answer. I mean, it was a niche sport where it's like, yeah, your dad might have watched the U.S. Open or the Masters or something, but yeah, Tiger Woods did bring a whole new audience to golf, but he did have a big partnership with Nike, had his own brand, but not to the Jordan level. I think, in fact, not do I think, I know that in the last 50 to 100 years, no bigger star on planet Earth than Michael Jordan, and I don't think there's an athlete capable of ever having a brand as big as Jordan's. As I look down at my feet, I'm wearing Jordans today too.
So why don't you hit up Stephen A. Smith and tell him this, because they still debate, who's the GOAT, Jordan or LeBron.
Those debates are eye-rolly.
So if you're so adamant and if it's so obvious, and it does feel kind of obvious in this context of his brand and the branding, right? Then how is this still a debate? Because when you think of overall international legacy in the branding that's behind this guy, how is that even a conversation still?
Let's go to Nate in Vegas. We'll start with you. Covino and Rich, what's up, buddy?
How you guys doing?
We're good, man. What's up?
Good. Well, you guys keep talking about dudes and guys. My thought was Caitlin Clark's got a pretty good start. Jordan changed the game. Caitlin Clark, I would argue, has changed the WNBA or women's basketball just in 1 year.
No doubt.
More than what he did.
That's a great answer. I mean, she has changed that sport more than most have changed any other sport, really.
Game changer, no question. But could her branding be as large?
That's what I was going to say. Is this conversation about who's changed their sport the most, or who could have a brand as huge as Jordan?
Yeah, Rich was talking about, can anyone compete in that sort of legacy of branding, just like the thought of how big his popularity transcended as a result.
I have a question.
As you said, is he the most popular in the past 50 years, and can anyone even compete with that at that point?
Danny, look up real quick, if you don't mind, how many humans on planet Earth? What's your guess? 3 billion? How many humans? That's a good question. How many humans?
How many humans? 8.2 billion.
I was way off. 8 billion people. Would you agree that the name Michael Jordan would have the highest percentage of the average random human doing name recognition?
Probably not. You're in the context of Fox Sports Radio, where most of your life is revolving around sports.
Who has not heard of the name?
I'm saying it's probably a world leader. I would guess.
Okay, Donald Trump might be the answer.
Maybe,
but you don't think
a world leader? Again, now you're still really ethnocentric in your thoughts. You're not thinking internationally. I mean, Donald Trump would probably be one of those guys.
You start naming me world leaders then.
You're asking worldwide. You're talking about 8 billion people.
If you asked,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't come down to me, Steve Covino, a kid from Jersey.
I think if you listed the most famous people on planet Earth and gave it to people in random third world countries,
that's a really tough Family Feud question. There's a lot of people to ask. We surveyed 8 billion people.
Steve Harvey's mustache will be wiggling for that one.
That's a tough one.
But I think Michael Jordan, if not the number one, he's a top 10 most recognizable name. I would beg you to find someone that's like, Michael Jordan, never heard of him.
Well, there was a point in time.
Can you imagine meeting someone and they're like, Michael Jordan, never heard of him?
There was a point in time as an 80s kid growing up where the stat, according to, I don't know, Reader's Digest, The Parade, or People Magazine or something, I don't know, some random
your mom
stat.
read.
Yeah, the stat used to say that the 3 most recognizable people in the world or characters or figures in the world, worldwide, were Mickey Mouse, Michael Jackson, and I think it was Hulk Hogan at one point. Because of the yellow and the red, it was recognizable worldwide. People knew that at one point. So you're saying at one point it just turned into Michael Jordan.
I think so. Larry in Illinois. What's up, Larry?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Larry, people have these tired debates of the GOAT and this and that and the sneakers and everything. I just argue that there's no more famous human than Michael Jordan. It's just, I can't see anyone on earth not knowing the name Michael Jordan.
Well, what Jordan and Nike did, especially in the sports world, is they love other sports, golf, love baseball, obviously, is they attacked all the other sports. I mean, you look at golfers have golf shoes that are Jordans. There's baseball, there's football. I mean, he makes a football cleat. He makes football uniforms that have his jump logo on it. Football uniforms.
It's wild. I'm telling you, I'm not understanding it because we don't talk Jordan a lot on our show. We've never have those Jordan LeBron debates. That's not our style.
But
it's his birthday, and it just dawned on me that I don't know if anyone could ever really do it again. It's almost like first in wins. Like the soda's never going to be Coca-Cola unless it does. Will there ever be a soft drink more popular than Coca-Cola?
To say never, though, is sounds so. What's the word? It just sounds wild that you would think never when, like I said, we're on the blip of the timeline.
James,
our life is so short. You don't think in another 100 years or something there's going to be someone else? You think we're still going to be having these conversations 100 years from now? That's crazy.
Let's take it back. I know sports are evolving more than ever now, but if you go back to the last, 150 years, modern day sport, Babe Ruth might be the only name in the conversation with Michael Jordan.
And that's slowly being replaced by a guy named Shohei, who has international fame.
All right. James in San Antonio. What's up, James?
Hey, yeah, I was thinking the same thing that the last caller just said. Jordan's got so many other players from other sports repping his logo that I feel like his brand and his product is going to last for as long as it wants to be in business. There's no question about it. There's been other players that have come close, like Frank Thomas or King Griffey or Bo Jackson, but they didn't get past it. So I think Jordan's going to always be the biggest, the GOAT on branding and athletes of all time.
James, speaking of the logo, is he wearing shorts or pants in the Jumpman logo?
Oh, now you got me confused. Why,
Really?
Why would I not know right out the gate?
It's Tutankhamun knowledge that he's wearing pantalones. You could see him.
This is like staring at the KFC logo.
Yeah.
And now I just see it's not a bow tie. It's his arms and legs on the KFC logo.
Yeah, you
It's a
assume
stick
he's
figure.
wearing his shorts because he's in the NBA, but he's wearing like his pants. You can see it in the logo.
Now you're gonna make me look it up.
And if you have Jordans and the Jordan Jumpman has a butt crack, those are the fake ones.
Yeah, those are Fugazi.
Those are the fake Jordans. Those are derriere Jordans.
You know what?
Fake ones have a butt crack.
You know, Cove?
The real Jordans don't have a butt crack.
I'm not saying it never dawned on me, but for some reason I never looked at it close enough to be like, yeah, he's wearing like warm-up pants.
He's wearing pants.
Is that-
In the logo.
Wait, is this one of those?
No, that's it. It's always
Is this
been
one of
that
those
way.
Mandela effects where
It's always
it was always shorts, bro. Jackson, KC, what's up, Jax? Covino and Rich.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Great show.
Oh,
I
thanks,
love
man.
the topic, by the way. I'm in my 50s. I never owned a pair of Jordans. They were just too expensive. That's crazy to me that people would pay that much money for those shoes.
Right?
But here's the three things that made Jordan who Jordan is. Number 3, he was a winner and a drive to win that we've never seen before or since, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Number two, the marketing with Mars Blackman and at that particular time, the hip hop culture that it tapped into. Spike Lee was so huge as part of that culture that's what also brought it to light. But number 1, cable television. Understand, I live in Kansas City, been here all my life. WGN was a national station that played Bulls games every night. So as fans all over the country watch Bulls games every day. And so when you combine those three things together, that is what put Jordan's whole brand, everything about him, at a level that nobody's ever going to, because we're not galvanized enough. With social media, everybody's in their own little bubble. Everybody's in their own little pocket. So nobody has a way to bring that many eyes. Remember, back in those days, millions of people watched nightly news at 5:30.
Dude, you ain't kidding. It's a different world now. The example I love to use, Jax, is we all know the same sitcoms and dumb shows and cartoons from the 80s and 90s because there were only a few shows. Like if you're like, hey, do you remember Cosby Show or Growing Pains or Different Strokes or Full House? You know why we do? Because there weren't that many options. Now, 2 kids that are the same age, 2 5-year-olds, could watch completely different cartoons.
Tons of options, yeah. I mean, we said it, perfect storm, and he nailed it. If Jordan didn't win and he wasn't a winner, you wouldn't have had the same results. But Nike also invested in the right guy. Perfect storm of marketing. And
It really was.
It really was. They invested in the right guy at the right time. He delivered, and it all worked out for the guy. So happy birthday, extra happy birthday to 62-year-old Michael Jordan.
There you go.